All right, you are tuned in to Metal Euphoria. This is your hostess, Metal Maiden Vicki, only on SonicAsylumRadio.com, the best underground music on the planet, period. And as you know, today's show is all things Hollowfest 2015. And I am pleased to have on the show with me today, Jess Rittgers, the vocalist from a band out of New York and New Jersey called Psychoprism, and they are going to be one of the performers at this year's Hollowfest down in Newcastle, Delaware at JP McGinnis. Welcome to the show, Jess.
Hey, fine. Good evening. Thank you very much, Vicki. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm having a great time. Just got back from DMV, one of my favorite places.
Absolutely. You know, and I'm sure you were doing some shenanigans over there, as you're always up to some kind of shenanigans. I love it.
Oh, of course. Put me in the middle of miserable people, and I will show you a flower breaking through concrete.
That's awesome. You know, that's a very good outlook to have on life, I think, you know?
Okay. I don't have too many other outlooks. That seems to apply everywhere.
It does, and it works. You know, I think it makes for a happier soul all the way around. You know, when you're in the, like you said, in the midst of something you don't want to be doing, you know, you got to take some time and enjoy and kind of see the humor in something or the absurdity of things, you know?
Yeah, I mean, last year when I went to DMV, I think I was registering my motorcycle. And I come walking in with my registration, and the place was packed, it was hot, it was awesome, an excellent environment for miserable people. So I walk in, this guy's yelling out numbers. So I guess for, like, you know, the lanes or the cashiers, wherever you're supposed to go. So I come walking up to him, I'm like, pardon me, sir, are we playing bingo? Because all they gave me was this registration card. And he starts saying, bingo? Bingo! I'm like, hey, the guy calling the numbers cannot win bingo. That's not fair. And the whole place erupted.
That's hysterical. See, that's perfect, because nobody wants to be at the DMV.
I didn't have demos to hand out at that time.
That's great. That's great. Well, you know, I always enjoy the videos you post online of your day-to-day events. So, you know, definitely keep them coming. We love to see them.
You know what? They are actually becoming quite popular. Like my Pathmark videos, I know a lot of people bring that up. You know, where other than Pathmark will you be walking down an aisle and find impulse items placed next to each other, one being a little girl's makeup set, and the other side of the display hanger is a flask. That's actually one of the videos. I should post it on your site. So, of course, you know, I'm like, Cameo, this is an opportunity. So I said, little girl's makeup, an alcoholic flask. Can somebody say Predator?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You know, that's
find it entertaining.
That's pretty bad placement of product there in the store.
Yeah, well, that's what I do. I'm like, who is responsible for placing products together? Like, I can understand when they had the little UFOs next to the farm animals because of things like cattle mutilations and, you know, animal abductions, things like that. I sort of get that. But
right.
The flask and the little girl makeup, I didn't get that.
Yeah, no, that's just wrong. Pathmark is wrong. Well, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, Jess, was the fact that Psychoprism is now Pure Steel Records recording artists. I mean, I am so thrilled for you guys. And actually it was, I think, announced the night of the New Jersey Metal Fest that was put on by Jerry Declet, who is not only your manager, but, you know, he's from a Nuclear Rock Radio. And what a great metal fest that was, by the way. I had such a blast. And he announced it on stage that night.
Yes, he announced it to us. I think one of his job descriptions will also be very good friend of ours, too, you know?
Oh, sure.
You know, how do you immediately have such a great friend? I like Jerry, he'll do it to you, you know? He had actually announced it to us. He's like, guys, I got to talk to you guys. He kind of made it seem like something's wrong, right?
Oh, really?
So he pulled us all out. You know, you wonder who's really in the know, but I think most of us had no clue. If not all of us, most of us probably didn't have a clue. So we're standing on the side of, it was in Dingbats, Clifton, New Jersey, and it was raining, and we were all, like, huddled underneath the awning. up against the wall.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and he's like, guys, I can't play on the unsigned segment anymore. And it was kind of setting in, and I'm like, why, we got signed? I kind of threw it out there like that would be the only reason that we really couldn't. It wasn't like, some kind of conflict of interest because he's managing the band and he plays it on the unsigned segment. It's not like, Donald Trump and Fox News or something. This is, Clifton, New Jersey on a side street in the rain.
Right.
So, what could be, what catastrophe could this bring? And then he goes, yeah, you got signed. So we're like, what? So, that was really interesting. One of the most kind of confused feelings I had ever in my life. It's up there with like definitely top 10 confused feelings. Like, well, how did that happen? So Pure Steel is a brotherhood apparently, and
yes,
we've entered into the brotherhood of Pure Steel Records.
There's
I've had the privilege of meeting some other Pure Steel bands, and you know what? It's like I didn't know that they were in bands before I sort of met them or Pure Steel people. I just thought that they were decent, nice people. I'm like, these are the kind of people I'd kind of talk to anyway. Then I find out that they're in bands and stuff. Where it shows they're playing. Like when Sleepy Hollow played, I had never seen them before. I didn't know who they were. And then I find out they're a Pure Steel band. Then I start talking. I'm like, these guys are great. I believe the band Wretch had played.
Wretch, yes.
Yeah, Wretch, I believe.
Yep, Wretch is also on Pure Steel. At Sonic Asylum Radio are big supporters of Pure Steel Records. Actually, one of our DJs, he has our Tuesday night show now, Riot Act. He just became named a U.S. ambassador for Pure Steel Records, which is really awesome. There's quite a few Pure Steel bands performing at Hollowfest this year. So it's you're definitely in good company. And you mentioned before that, how did this happen? Well, I know why it happened, because Psychoprism kicks ass. I mean, you guys are such a powerful heavy metal band. I mean, just watching you guys on stage with your incredible vocals and the lightning fast guitar work of Bill, and it's just really, you guys are phenomenal. I first became friendly with you guys last year while doing another project, and your EP Bloodlines just really blew me away. And it's just,
it's funny. It's because, like people ask you, like, well, what do you do it for? What did you want to get out of it? I'm like, to me, I just wanted something to show for all the work, time and effort, that you put into it away from family, financially putting into things that could go other places, that's a lot of people can, dig themselves a hole with this whole recording thing and this and that and everything else. But it's interesting. We had a lot of things fall into our favor, especially when we first started. As far as how we got our Pro Tools system, because everything had to be upgraded. I remember Bill had a system a while back. It was a digital system. I had a very small, little Zoom thing. I don't need a studio. I just need a little thing to work with. Once the ideas started getting bigger, I'm like, all right, well now, of course, Bill's basement, he has a nice setup down there. We have some nice mics and stuff. So the whole album, except for the drums, were actually recorded in Bill's basement.
Wow. That's really amazing.
I mean, the microphone it's pretty funny because, you go on YouTube and stuff, and there's like a million microphones on the scene, and it's like, well, which one should I get? You just start Googling and looking, and it's like falling down the rabbit hole. It's just like, and then, you see this mic keeps coming up. Then I went and got that mic, and I'm like, I don't like this mic at all, So, I ended up with, it was a Rode NT1 that I got on sale probably, over 10 years ago. And my friends in Paramus had got me a deal on it. I paid like low twos for it. It was a condenser mic. I'm like, wow, it's real nice. So one of the things I actually wanted to do is to give people a little insight into what microphone was used on what album or something, because I found it quite the struggle. Getting lost within all these YouTube links of this mic versus that mic versus this mic versus that mic, and it's like, I just wanted to know what this mic sounded like. Not like, an Encyclopedia Britannica on it. You know,
right.
And then, of course, nobody demonstrating the mic is actually singing. They're talking in it. And I'm like, oh, for crying out loud. So if anyone's interested, Bloodlines was recorded with a Rode NT1 condenser microphone.
Wow, that is amazing. And you know, I just wanted to give a rundown of the band members. Of course, you're Jess Rittgers on vocals and Bill Visser on lead guitar, Michael James on bass, Kevin Myers on drums, and Adam Peterson on keyboards. And, you know, talk a little bit about how you guys all got together, because I know Adam is not from the area. So how did that all come about?
Oh, Lord. Well, you know, first of all, you know, a lot of people out there try to put bands together. You know on that Band Mix was one of the websites. I was working on it, and of course, there's these people that, you know, say, I'm looking for this, I can do that, here's all my stuff. You know, it's like, wow, great pictures, wow, great link. Can't get in touch with the guy. You know? I mean, there was one guy, I remember this was an old project. By the time we got to the bottom of who this guy was, he said he was a drummer, and he said he was looking to form a metal band. So, like, okay, great. He looked cool, he had cool drums. I finally talked to this guy, and it sounded, I couldn't even understand him because of his accent. It was really hard to understand him. So it ends up, the guy is actually living in Hungary, and he has an ad in Band Mix in the United States.
Wow.
And he wanted you to fly him to the United States, get him an apartment, and buy him a drum set, and then he'll play for your band.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, right.
You know, and then, you know, after you do all this, you're like, oh, well, can the guy play, you know?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, sounds like a scam to me, you know?
Just disasters. But, you know, what's interesting is periodically somebody will kind of stick out a little bit, or you remember a name, or you remember a band, or something like that. So, you know, I was always active on Craigslist, you know, I mean, kind of everywhere, you know, and I saw the name Bill Visser, and I'm like, I know that guy. I've Googled that guy a whole bunch of times, and I watched him play. I'm like, I would totally be in a band with that guy. So, I called him. I emailed him. You know, he emailed me back, give any samples, whatever, or he's dedicated. And, you know, I'm like, yeah, I've got every reason to quit, but I keep going, you know? So, you know, when everything goes wrong, you gotta wonder, am I doing the right thing, you know? It's like
right.
Stocks to keep crashing. Should I spell, you know? So, which is why a lot of people actually, you know, they sell their instruments, you know, they sell all their stuff. They're like, well, you know, I tried. You know, it depends if it's in your blood, for whatever reason you do it for. Maybe somebody's rooted in failure. They're like, I just want something to show for my efforts, which was my case, right?
Right.
So when I got together with Bill, I sent him a link of me and some Craigslist guys in some guy's basement doing an improv song, and he liked it. You know, it was on an old Zoom recorder, video recorder I got from my Paramus friends too, for a good deal, right? So it was good enough to give him an example that, you know, I'm not sitting here screaming domestic violence music or anything, you know, harshly political or anything along those lines. So, you know, it actually had a concept, it had emotional content, you know, it had dynamics to it. It looked like, you know, not only did I want to do it, but it was an excellent expression, you know? So he sent me a file. He goes, well, I've been working on something here. See what you can do with it. That's what he says. He goes, he didn't say, here's the lyrics, send it, you know, sing it this way, do this, do that, don't go here. You know, he goes, see what you can do with it. I'm like, wow, this guy's giving me full vocal freedom on here. That's very rare. Very rare. You know, you know, from my perspective and from my, you know, case examples of people I've worked with, that's very rare. So I was having a bad week. Apparently he was having a bad 10 years. And he sent this song, and I just sang on it. I heard parts in my head. I sent it back to him. And then he called me, and he was like, you know, we spoke for like an hour at least. And then we went up there, we met, and we recorded it for real. So we actually had Defiance, the opening song on Bloodlines, was actually our demo song, and it was all actually also the audition song to form the band. So, I mean, if I heard it, it's, you know, I mean, I dig it. You know, it's a, you know, an adrenaline rush. It's, you know, it's several things. You know,
Oh, absolutely. That's a good way to put your band. It's a total adrenaline rush.
But, you know, what's interesting is we did not have a lot of responses, you know. Early on, you know, I work at a college, so we're doing weekend scanning, and this girl had brought in this dude, and we were talking, whatever, and you know, he's in a band, whatever, so I'm like, hey, we're looking for a drummer. He said he was a drummer. He was from Boston. He wasn't from the area. So we were looking for somebody local. We weren't looking for guys who jump in, you know, hired guns, you know, just part-timers, right? We want somebody that's you know, part of the band, that's a member, you know?
Right.
Not a prospect, you know? So, you know, I gave him a copy. He said, dude, send me the files. I'll totally play on it. I'm like, well, who are you? He said, his name was Adam Jarvis from Pig Destroyer, right?
Okay.
Like one of the most unbelievable drummers you've ever seen. I mean, after talking with him a while and seeing his videos online, I'm like, he runs sprints behind the club he's playing, and then he comes running into place with his heart rate at 190 and just drops on the kit, and they start firing away. Like, the guy gets his heart rate up to 190 before that. You know, but, you know, that was somebody that actually, you know, showed interest, was responding, was capable. But, you know, he was, you know, hours and hours away, so we couldn't do that. So we kept, we were adamant. We just kept firing. You know, we had, you know, emails. This guy knows that guy. Hunting down everybody on Craigslist, hunting down everybody on Bandmix. You know, then we got, you know, a couple guys there said, you know, I play like, you know, Dave Lombardo. And, you know, and I told this one guy, McKay, he says he plays like Dave Lombardo. And he goes, I know a guy that plays like Dave Lombardo. I'm like, who? He goes, Dave Lombardo. So I was like, okay, you know, so needless to say, a disaster, right? So, you know, that's why, you know, you got to go with the guys that actually use a real name, that don't give themselves a name. That's one thing I learned. If the guy's got this name that's not his real name, and that's what you're just supposed to call him by, he's probably not your man. But we kept pushing it, and originally we had a bassist that was interested, is kind of a rock bassist. He had showed up. We're, you know, working with him for a while, and then I think Bill had made a call to his friend Kevin, and you know, Kevin kept showing up at auditions. You know, we were playing through a drum machine. I mean, Bill and I would just go to the studio. It was me, Bill, drum machine. You know, you play the drum machine, and what's funny is I have old videos of this stuff. And you know, I was watching them a couple weeks back. I'm like, wow, that's amazing to have something that primitive, then to turn it into like opening for Queensryche at, you know, the Bergen Performing Arts Center.
I know. I definitely want to talk about that as well.
You know, like, never would I have imagined ever. You know, if you told me 5 years ago, if you played Bloodline Scream, like, that's you and that's your band in 5 years, I'm like, yeah, right. I'm like, you must have just got back from a rave gig and your brain's still spinning in circles, right? But, you know, I mean, I'm as amazed by it as probably anybody else, you know, because it's consistent, you know? So we ended up, the bass player had apparently called his, he'd been in a cover band in Texas. And he called his old keyboard player or something, or a guy he knew, or I think they're in the same band for a while. One band they were in together, and they knew each other. Everybody knows everybody, you know. And he keep in touch, you know. So he had called him, and apparently he was like a head chemist at some bio lab.
Oh, wow!
Making, like, high-end lenses for like Gucci glasses and stuff. So he was you know, he was pretty settled in. He had his roots in the ground pretty well, and after some reluctancy, he listened to the song and just decided to move across the country. And the drummer had a room for rent at the time, so he just drove across the country, dropped everything in the room. We made the photo shoot the next day.
Wow, that's amazing.
I mean, he's a major part of the band. You know, he supports, he compliments. He's irreplaceable. You know, I would think. You know, his technique, his style, when you know, you kind of let him go, and he plays some awesome stuff. Like, I would go see this band if I wasn't in it, and I'd watch, you know, all the different people, you know?
Exactly.
Our drummer really holds everything together, you know? I mean, you got Bill flying one direction, Adam flying the other direction, me ripping through it, and we got this drive from the bass and from the drums, and it all holds together. You know, I mean, songs like we have, you ever see those videos of, like, the fiberglass speedboats, and they're going 200 miles an hour on the water, and then all of a sudden it hits like a little wake, and the whole thing busts into pieces, and the capsule with the driver goes 200 yards that way, and everything flies up in the air, smoke,
right.
you know? Like, if something went wrong in one of our songs, like, this song would end up like the speedboat just blasting into pieces. But we've always been able to hold it together. We rely upon each other. You know, it's very intense, man.
That's so important, you know, that you guys feed off of each other. And, you know, the first time I ever saw you guys perform was at the New Jersey Metal Fest. And, you know, like I said, I was just blown away. I was watching Bill play guitar, and I think he was moving faster than my eyes could watch him. I was just blown away, you know?
What's funny is, you know, I mean, sometimes they're like, you know, we've been accused of like, oh, they're faking it. They're playing to a CD. You know, like I heard that a couple times.
Really?
It makes us really laugh. Because when you know the music, you're like, well, I would have done this correctly, or I would have done that over here. So, you know, when you have a million things going on at the same point, you know, something's going to kind of, you know, give here or take over there or something. But, you know, it's all part of the real expression, a live sound. You don't know who you can hear. You know, if you can hear two other people, you're doing great. That's why I got ear monitors. You know?
Right.
You know, like, I mean, for me, you know, if I fell out the key, you know, substantially, or if I missed a part, it would be catastrophic, you know? So I didn't like ear monitors, but I went and got it. It took me a while to get used to them, but now I'm just like, wow, because I pull them like halfway out and I can hear myself and I can hear the stage sound, and I don't sing harder than I need to at certain parts because, you know, that's when you start straining and then you lose your flexibility and your dexterity. And once that starts going, it gets in your head. And once you become emotionally compromised, it's like, well, there goes your song, man. You know. So, you know, I think we've been lucky all around. The people that we've got earn their rights to be here. You know, there's a rite of passage to everything and everyone, and of course, there's a responsibility to maintain your standard in the band. So now, what we're doing is we're coming out with a new album,
Woo!
and you know, it's an upstage. I mean, there's faster guitar, there's higher vocal notes, there's deeper vocal notes, there's heavier guitar,
Wow.
There's incredible keys, there's driving rhythm sections. It's crazy. If I ever heard this, I'd say I gotta go see those guys. It's not only you can't really control the style that you're in because you're subject to the writing parameters of those in your band. However, you know, I'm in a kind of situation where I really like what the other guys do,
Right.
you know? So I'm like, I'm in a band that I would go see.
Now, who does most of the writing? Is it a collaborative effort, or?
From what's been going on, I mean, Bill's got kind of a library of stuff. And, you know, he writes songs very well, you know? He writes them in a nice format that's comprehensive, you know? The tempo's good, the keys are good, the changes are appropriate, they're clean, they're understandable, they're cohesive, you know, and then somebody like me gets on it, I'm like, well, I got something to say about a few things, maybe even a few people. Boom. Turn that into Leonardo da Vinci meets Patrick Swayze on vocals, and there you go. We're lucky enough to get, you know, guys like Adam that'll look at what Bill's doing, look at what I'm doing, and say awesome stuff, you know? And then you got Kevin that'll just, boom, very, very solid player, you know? I mean, sometimes, you know, I mean, to me, you know, music may stimulate, you know, visuals in your mind, but it's almost like some of our songs, it's like a giant transformer just like marching through some post-apocalyptic terrain, you know, with an agenda. You know?
Right. No, I completely agree.
I hear the music stepping, and then it starts to run, and you know, it's crazy, you know. And I've come along. I remember our first show, I almost passed out 3 times.
Really?
You know? Yeah. I mean, it was very challenging. I've been dormant for a long time, and then I meet these guys, and they start playing stuff like that, and I'm like, oh Lord, you know, I'm gonna have to. This is what I'm gonna have to do to complement that. And I'd say most of the songs that we have originally, when I wrote them, I could totally not sing certain parts of them. You know, I'm like, well, I'm going to have to find out how to do this. I hear this, I'm like, how can I do that? And, you know, one of my personal beliefs is that passion trumps technique.
Yes.
So one of my favorite quotes is, "The fool did it because he did not know it was impossible."
I love it. Okay, yeah.
You put those things together, it's like, well, people ask, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you go from way down there to go up there? It's funny because I got some hardcore King Diamond fans that are into my style. I just said, maybe it's an emotional issue I have, it's not like, I practiced this technique or that technique and I intended to go from here to there. It's just kind of like, once you commit, the song is revealed. Your lines are revealed. Your path is revealed. What you need to do is already there. And if you don't believe in it, you can't do it. If you don't become it, it won't happen. Things like that. So it's almost a kind of sorcery or a magic for me, But I would absolutely say it's the band that drives me to do the stuff I have to, because as the singer, you should really do those things I'm doing, in my opinion. And once again, had I heard these songs, especially the new album, 10 years ago, I'd be like, no way is that me, no way can I do that. I would go see that band, though.
Now, are you formally trained, or was it a natural talent? Did you take lessons when you were younger? When did you start singing?
Oh, God, it all started when, I found out, guys I was hanging out with, played bass or played guitar, or, were drummers and stuff. So, when we hung out, they just pull out instruments. This all happened at my friend Damien's house in River Edge, New Jersey. Right? So we'd hang out and they'd start breaking out stuff, and nobody was a singer. So, I'd say I really learned the hard way how to do it. And then once I found out the passion trumps technique, I do have some technical training. I remember Lisa Von Gerken from Giamanca Vocal Studios in Englewood, New Jersey. I'd gone there, and Leslie was with she was one of the main characters in the touring Phantom of the Opera.
Oh,
so she was pretty funny. So when I got together with Lisa Von Gerken, she was really good. She was a great teacher because she knew I was bad. She knew I was bad. I remember one of the first things she said to me was, "You were yelling at me."
Really?
Yeah. So she's like, "So what's one of your songs?" So I'm like, "I'm a damned outcast in my own land, held in fear, held in frustration," and it was somebody else's lyrics. Some of the thing had to do with Damien and his brother getting into a fight, and they broke a door, and his mother was screaming about it. And we're like, well, me and the guitarist were in the basement. We're like, she's like, "Damien, you've had your whole morning of warning." I'm like, warning. That's our song. So we started writing this song, Warning, Warning. And everything that the mother was screaming at my friend Damien about was the lyrics.
That's hysterical. Yeah.
Me and the guitarist are in the basement, and we made a song out of our friend who was the bassist breaking a door with he threw his brother into the door. They got in some kind of fight. The door got broken, and his mother went crazy. And she's like, "You've had your whole morning of warning." Warning.
A full warning of warning.
My friend Lionel starts, it starts out with this riff. I'm a damned outcast in my own land, because Damien's screaming, "I can't even do anything I want in my own home." They're like, "Damned outcast in my own land." Yes, that's it. So that's sort of where the creativity came from, real experiences. All the songs on Bloodlines are all real experiences.
That's awesome. I mean,
it's way too long to explain.
Well, what I'd like to do.
Clearly another interview, but I spent 6 months of lessons in Englewood with Giamanca Vocal Studios. I've carried them through to this day.
Do you?
Some people think that, this and that and everything else. I would definitely go back and say Giamanca Vocal Studios taught me how not to yell.
Oh, okay, because your vocals are so high at times. I mean, you have an amazing vocal ability and your range and your register.
Once again, the fool did not know it was impossible, so he did it.
There you go. Well, what I'd like to do...
I don't see anything as not possible. I think that's why I can do it sometimes, I guess. I don't know.
Everything is possible, right? Everything.
Yeah, especially if you really go subatomic.
Yeah. Subatomic. Well, what I'd like to do now is play a track for everybody, so you can, guys out there listening, get an idea of what Psychoprism's sound is like.
What are you playing?
I'm going to play Defiance, and just go into a little bit about...
This was your audition song. Now imagine anybody out there, you get the vocals and the guitar sent to you with a drum machine, and you got to play on it. You know, you could do whatever you want. That was the rule. Do whatever you want. Do whatever you think you should do. And that's how we got our players. Wow.
And what's the go a little bit into the meaning behind the song? Like, what is the song about? What are you saying in the song?
It's pretty much, I mean, you can kind of narrow it down to, you know, damned if you do, damned if you don't. So the answer is no. You know, in the chorus, you know, in the pre-chorus, I mean, it's really good stuff. You know, spoon fed me nothing other than your complaints. They're getting old as I'm growing cold in my veins. Breaking these chains of discretion. To give is to get in return. Feel the flames of my obsession as I'm watching you burn.
Ooh. Ouch.
And then defiance absolves you by saying, no, boom, it's over. It's not happening. For you.
Total defiance. Yes.
It's happening for me, though.
Wow. All right, guys. Well, we are going to take a little break, and I'm going to play you some Psychoprism. The song is called Defiance off of their Bloodlines EP. And enjoy, and we will be back with Jess Rittgers, the vocalist with Psychoprism. So stay tuned. We'll be back.
Just feeding the corpse. Neurology
All right, welcome back. You are tuned in to SonicAsylumRadio.com. This is Metal Euphoria, and I am your hostess, Metal Maiden Vicki. And today's show is all things Hollowfest 2015. And I have with me on the line Jess Rittgers, the vocalist from a band out of New Jersey and New York, Psychoprism. They are going to be one of the performers at this year's Hollowfest, and really excited. Sonic Asylum Radio is one of the sponsors for this event, and as I've mentioned on the air before, not only am I attending the event, but I'm also co-emceeing the event both nights. So I'm really, really psyched for this. It's something I've never done before, so it's going to be a lot of fun, man. And I'm so happy to have Jess with me on the air today. We were talking a little bit before about how the band got started. You formed in 2012, and all the pieces of the Psychoprism puzzle came together, and the sound that you guys create is just intense. It's heavy, power metal, in your face to the max. Your EP Bloodlines is just amazing, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys have on the horizon. Now that you're been signed with Pure Steel Records, which is very exciting as well for the band. I mean, things are moving fast for you guys, and I know that you have performed on the stage before with bands such as UDO and Queensryche, and you have a show coming up at the Chance with Fate's Warning and Talon and Striven. But definitely talk about some of those gigs and what it was like.
Well, where do I start? Let's start with the first one. I distinctly remember when Bill and I were putting the band together, him saying to me, don't worry, we're going to get the band together, we're going to play some big shows. I'm like, well, what's a big show? I mean, to me, in my old bands, a big show would be like the one that everybody showed up at.
Right, yeah.
I remember I played a show down in, where's Bon Jovi from? Sayreville.
Yeah, I don't know what town. Is it?
It's Sayreville, yeah. He made it popular. I probably never would have heard of it other than that. Except it was a metal town, and they started calling it Slayerville, And we had a show down there with one of my old bands back in the 90s. And we opened up with this song, and there was 3 people there.
Wow.
Right? That's really when you want to kind of turn down a little bit, because the sound is going to bang off those people instead of a crowd, And then next thing you know, there's 2 people, and one of them works there,
Right.
Yeah, right? So I remember this one part, I jumped up and I landed, and I went to just drop into this, you got to start the song somewhere. I'm like, so let's just fully commit to starting this song here, and my foot went through the stage.
Oh, no.
And anybody that's ever gone fishing knows that you have to, whenever you hook a fish, you have to get the barb out of the fish's mouth the same way it kind of went in. So you got to rotate the hook and stuff like that to try to pull it out. I'm sitting here trying to, I don't even know which way my foot went into the stage. All I know is I'm stuck. Right? I'm stuck with my foot in the stage.
Oh,
and
man.
the more I pull on it, the more it's like, air trapping me, So I had to get my other foot press on the area that my foot went through, just to kind of open it up a bit, and now I'm in a highly balanced state where I may fall at any second while still singing. And I turned my foot, and it must have looked like a ballerina trying to get out of a pothole or something in the middle of the street. But to me, what's a big gig, So our first show was opening for Udo at the Chance. Now, I'd never seen the Chance before. I went to, I remember I'd seen Non-Fiction at a place called The Rage. And that was kind of a big venue. I remember, I really haven't been to huge shows. And, I was right up front. Alan Tecchio comes in, he slams the mic. Back then they had the big iron bases for the microphones. He slams this thing like it's a pickaxe. The thing lands 2 feet from my face. I was completely excited and scared at the same time. It was a very bizarre sort of feeling. And then he just flashed this note, his hair's all, I was like, it was very scary and very exciting at the same time. idea of opening for Udo. It was my first show in 17 years, you know? I pretty much, mentally I was starting to kind of pack it in until I met, these guys. Then I'm like, okay, well, whatever's not in the pack, I don't need,
Right.
So whatever you end up with is all you needed anyway, sort of thing. So I remember we went up there to get the tickets, and I walked in, I'm looking around like, this is a big place, the speakers are huge. I'm like, wow, so then we went there, we drove up, and we we thought it was a sound check. And what's funny is PoughkeepsieMetal.com has top videos.
Mm-hmm.
They have a section called top videos, and we're still the #1 video from our debut. It was like April 13th or something, like 2012?
2013, yeah. That's amazing.
So 2013. So we've been sitting in first place for like, I don't know how many years, over 2 years now, which is, it's funny and bizarre at the same time. But you can go to that video and you can see our keyboard player is wearing a leather jacket. Because he walked in, he said, I thought it was a sound check.
Right.
I thought it was a sound check, right? But, opening bands apparently they don't get sound checks, right? Apparently it was something called You Gotta Level.
Wow.
And, you hear stuff like set it and forget it, things like that. So I remember Bill looks at me and goes, you ready? I'm like, I almost said, for what?
Right.
I'm just looking over at Adam's got his leather jacket on. And he's looking at me, I'm looking at him like, is this the beginning?
That's insane.
We hear the cymbal count for Defiance. I'm like, uh-oh, here we go, So, it's a good thing at the studio we played at that, I can't really hear yourself all the time, which is, ultimately why I got ear monitors, but, you take bigger risks, stuff like that. But, yeah, the song started, so we just fired out, the note I hit was higher than the one I should have hit, but it was well received, and, for 80 people on I think a Thursday night, they made a lot of noise. I remember after Defiance was over, this guy was looking at him. He had like a low bowl drink or something. He had like, I don't know what it was, like a brandy or something. He just throws his fist up in the air, and his whole drink just goes up in the air. He had like a $13 drink, just like went up in the air. That is one of my most profound memories from, like, because we went out, we don't know if anybody's going to like us,
Right.
We don't know what's going to happen. Strings are going to break, fuses are going to blow. But I mean, the sound guys there, they really supported us well. And then we just kept going into the songs. We had opened, Halcyon Way was on the bill. Steve Braun, who became a good friend of mine from the music scene. Kind of guy I'd be friends with anyway.
Right.
After the show, and it was tough. I mean, those lights. I'd never been under lights like that,
Well, there was there's some great things.
Adam was, I wasn't wearing a leather jacket, but it was like we're in a microwave or something, and just the songs kept going, and we kept pumping, and the crowd kept, showing approval. So like, let's keep going.
Right.
So we did our set, and then afterwards, Earthbound was on the bill. The singer from Earthbound, a friend of mine also from the music scene, she came up with Steve Vaughan, and she's like, that was awesome, and he said, you did a really great job. And I'm sitting there half passed out, like, I don't know if I can, like, imagine if it was an hour long, so I had to, start going out of the way to do cardio and MMA and, different stuff to really get, to use my body to throw it around, to be able to, export what I need to, create output when needed from all different, positions, because sometimes I kind of have a little tendency of going on a tangent because the stuff I'm talking about or singing about, it's real stuff.
Sure.
You want something believable, you got to put emotion behind.
Absolutely.
I'm not the dry eyes, clear eyes guy.
Well, there was a lot of great things that were said about people that attended that show that night at the Chance with with Udo and Earthbound. I wanted to read a couple of them.
And just for the record, we don't even know these people.
Right, but they certainly know you guys. There's Chris.
They were reviews, and we're like, where? You know, it was great.
Well, this guy Chris, who attended the show, he said on April 11th, 2013, I took a ride up to the chance to see my friends Earthbound open up for Udo. What I didn't know was that a band called Psychoprism would be going on first. Knowing absolutely nothing about them, I had no idea what to expect as they were setting up their gear and tuning their instruments. After playing the first song of the set, I was instantly hooked. This band has everything I love about metal. Heavy tunes with melodic keyboards, excellent guitar shredding, and great power metal vocals that complements the rest of the band. Not only were they awesome on stage, but very approachable after the show. The singer even gave me a t-shirt. Keep an eye out for these guys, because without a doubt, they will be rocking out a venue near you. And another comment here, good luck on the show. If you do half as well as Poughkeepsie, you'll knock them dead. This band is great. I will be at their next show. I drove 3 hours to see Udo, and it's always good to be impressed with local talent like yourselves. When are they coming back? You know, lots of good stuff. Good Lord, the show is intense. Went there for Udo. Glad I got there early. Definitely catching their next show. I mean, you know, well received by, you know, the people that attended the show that night.
Yeah, I remember, you know, I mean, this was like a big deal for us. You know, I mean, the last time I remember, you know, the last time we advertised for a show, you know, like, this back in the 90s. I remember I'd be driving around with my old bass player, Vinny. We'd be looking at addresses from a spiral book of people's names, you know, and their addresses. And I'm sitting here with, like, you know, photocopies from the 7-Eleven of, you know, our band and where we're playing. And we're driving around, like, hours to everybody's house. I'm like, you know, nobody shows up anyway. You know, but now they, you know, with Facebook, they have stuff called events. I'm like, you gotta be kidding. I'm like,
yes.
Wow, that's really cool. And I've spent half my life, you know, knocking flyers on things for this stuff. But what's really wild is after the show, you know, we made friends, and we were supposed to sell shirts. So I found this dude. I got a ton of shirts, and my friend Vicki, ironically, her name, the only other Vicki I know, she used to beat me up in second grade and throw me into sticker bushes.
Oh, great.
as a first grader. And if you look at the video on PoughkeepsieMetal.com, you're going to see the Psychoprism banner that was hung in front of the keyboard. That was actually made by her.
Oh, wow.
She got that made and gave it to us to play her first show at.
That's great.
I've been friends with her since she used to beat me up in second grade.
Well, there you go. You know, a lifelong friendship. Basically, she probably liked you back then. That's what girls did back then. You know, like in second grade, she liked you.
To beat me up like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I guess when they ignore you, they don't like it.
No, yeah. If they ignore you, then yeah, no. It depends on how they ignore you, I suppose. You know?
She used to pick me up like in a full body slam and just put me head first into like she was powerful.
Damn.
She was from a family of like, you know, auto mechanics, you know?
Oh my gosh.
I made these shirts and she was supposed to sell them at the show and she couldn't make it last minute. So I'm like, I was just so impressed with, first of all, the band we got through our set, you know?
Right. Especially the quickness of it all.
The response from the people, the crowd was great. I'm like, you know what? Here's a one-time deal. During the break in stained glass, I said, anybody want a shirt? They're all free after the show. And so I handed them all out.
Nice.
Those guys found me on the parking lot. I was taking pictures, guys, in the parking lot. What's funny is the first guy, and I had this picture actually of this guy in the crowd, his name was Jeff. He asked me who I was. He goes, who are you? I'm like, nobody really, why? And, you know, he expressed how, you know, he was impressed with us and thought I would have had some kind of history in the band scene. And he goes, can I take my picture with you? I'm like, yeah, sure. So here I am, half passed out, sweat all down the front of my Harley Davidson shirt. And I got this picture with this guy, Jeff, who ends up as the singer of Power Theory.
No way, Jeff Rose.
I had no idea it was him. Another cool guy.
That's awesome. I mean, and, Power Theory is another band that'll be at Hollowfest this year.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. Wow, that is wild. And you were...
was just big across the board. It showed me that, I could return. I mean, I was just an underground singer, I mean, there's a lots of people around here knew me from, like, tons of different, not even tons, just, people get together, nobody knows anybody, we jump on stuff, make things up, nice to meet you, whatever, it was fun, everybody's half in the bag, whatever. And, sort of that kind of stuff. But it showed me that I kind of step out of nowhere onto a stage and do the same thing I was doing, kind of unknown, And it showed me that, I'm capable, the band is capable, and it gave us a good oomph,
Yeah, absolutely.
There were these tattooed guys in the back, the faces all tattooed. I'm not even going to say what they said, but it was highly complimentary, and they were talking about other singers, that have been known, and how they don't need them anymore. They got me, stuff like that. I thought it was a little overboard. Maybe the drinks are strong over there, but as a middle child, I'll take that kind of attention.
Right.
I thought it was great. My brother was there. The last time he saw this back in, I must have been 22. Back in, back in the early '90s, he came to one of our shows. He had a couple originals, but some covers. He came to it, and then he hadn't really heard of anything, and then he brought his son and his daughter, my niece and nephew. They came out to the show, and he recorded it, and he was like, "What?" It was really funny to see his expression, because the last thing he remembered was like, some bar in Bergenfield, with everybody's trying to, whoever showed up, everybody showed up.
Wow. Did you get to hang out with Mr. Dirk Schneider?
With who?
With Mr. Dirk Schneider.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and of course, he was an Udo fan.
Ah, okay.
So I remember we used to watch, U68 had the Power Hour way before cable. They had, your standard channels and then your UHF channels. And if you turned on the U channel, then you flipped the bottom dial to 68, they had something called the Power Hour, where Loudness, they were there. They had, Metal Heart from Accept. There was all these different metal bands. I remember Gang Green had a video with guys on skateboards, Peace Cells. Like, it was just like, wow, what is this music? It was wild. It was so obscure. And of course, like, the receptions, like Hats coming in, it was awesome. And then, to have him see, where, I had developed, somewhat from this, and then he's at a show, Udo's playing, his kids are going, it was big on many levels. I mean, for me,
Oh, definitely.
From there, then we started playing some other shows, and I remember, I never thought we'd open for Queensryche or something, or not this band, I don't doubt this band, but I mean, like, before this band, I thought these things would have been impossible, But Phil says, like, you watch, we're going to get some good shows.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. We even, we kind of walked on to the Queensryche show at the Bergen Performing Arts Center. And that's like a legit theater.
Sure, yeah.
And what's funny is I'd mentioned this after one of the songs, everybody, retuned their insurance and stuff. And I used to work as, beat security. You just walk around, you'd like have a beat, so to speak. Outside of, in Englewood, outside of the, what was called the John Harms Theater back then, in the ShopRite courtyard. You'd be grabbing shoplifters, kind of diving into cars that were like speeding through, drunk guys speeding through the complex, and like everybody's in their babies, and shopping carts are running out of the way, going to court over that. The guy gets hit with 4 points. It's awesome. Stuff like that. No efforts I don't make now on the stage. But I did say during one point, I'm like, I used to work security out there in the courtyard years back, and this place is a lot nicer on the inside.
I've never seen a show at Bergen before.
I was never there either. I was never there either. I just remember all the traffic when I used to valet cars over at East Hill Grill. It was a high-end steakhouse over there. But my mother was second row. She thought it was fabulous.
Oh, that's awesome.
She my son and his band are playing a place and they've got actually seats, man. You know?
Yeah, right. You don't have to stand all night.
Yeah, and they opened up the VIP room for her. Of course, I mean, I remember
sweet.
Jessica, the assistant manager, I believe, was very accommodating. She knew my mother was going to be there, and she really made me look good in front of my mother. You know.
Very, very cool.
It was great. I met Todd Latour. I'm walking around the back. We're bringing in our gear, and I see this guy leaving on the hall. I just looked at him like, Todd Latour, it's got to be you. He goes, yeah, I'm like top of the food chain. How are you? And I introduced myself. I'm like, yeah, I'm playing whatever. He was a big dude. He used to be an insurance salesman. It was so funny. You know, I used to bounce clubs, and it's just funny to see like who was still in the scene and what were they doing, you know, before they're in the scene. You know,
right?
Like,
yeah.
Like somebody like to replace Jeff Tate. You know, it's like there's probably a very small pool of people, you know, that are perhaps capable of that.
Right.
And, you know, he was, you know, top of the food chain on that one. I think he did a great job. You know, I think the crowds that actually go to the shows really demonstrate that.
Oh yeah, they've been getting great response since Todd has joined the band. You know, it's
hard. You know, I mean, DeGarmo was one of my favorite players. Just the way he would write a song. You know,
right.
He was just cool, great. The way he would just hit a note. You know, great stuff. And you know, these are guys that are hard to replace. And lo and behold, they're doing it.
Yes.
You know, and the people are there, and it's kind of like you don't even notice. You know, you know, the band is there for the song, the crowd's there for the song's going great, the crowd's like, hell yeah, you know. It was great. I remember busting up front, you know, while Queensrÿche was playing, and people were like, hey, were you the guy in the first band? And it was funny because I'm sitting there, we're talking, and of course afterwards on the way out, you know, we met everybody. It was great. It was awesome. I had a great time. Yeah, so our manager, Jerry, put that one together.
Go, you know? Jerry, man. That's fantastic. That must have been so surreal.
I can honestly say there's a ton of things I'm not taking to my grave anymore. You know? And, you know, when I'm, you know, substantially older, sitting there on the rocking chair, you know, wondering who I am. You know, if I've got some memories left of the experience I had with Psychoprism, that's all I want. You know,
right.
Because it doesn't get any better than this. You know, meeting great people, having great times. You know, to a degree, it's still somewhat unexpected to me.
Well, you know, the metal community is such a phenomenal community, as we all know. You know, it's
they crawl out of the woodwork.
It's the most, I think, tight-knit, but yet well open to, you know, anybody new to come in to the metal family. It's really one of the most loyal fans, I think, of any music genre that there is. And people that don't understand the music just don't get it, you know?
We have our own symbol.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Ronnie. Although Gene Simmons would say that he did it, but, you know, no. We got to thank Ronnie James Dio for that one. And his grandmother.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was cool. It's actually called the Jegada.
Mm-hmm.
And the Jegada. That was actually one of an old project of mine. Of course, didn't happen. I wanted to name the band Jegada.
That would be cool. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. It's actually called. And it's used to, you know, to ward off evil.
Yep,
you know,
exactly. Yeah, I think one way is to ward it off, and one way is to mean something else the other way. But either way, it's all...
Probably to put it on somebody.
Yeah. I mean, metalheads, we do it either way. It doesn't matter. Whichever way it happens to come out when you do it, it's all understood and it's all good, you know?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Funny that, you know, it's funny because, you know, every show you go to, once in a while you see the same guy, you know?
Right.
And you see this different groups of people, and it's like you wonder, like, you know, you see some of these people have, like, their original Levi's jackets with, like, the patches on the back from, like, the early 80s.
Right, yep.
They still have them. It's like, dude, you were so authentic.
Like, I know, I love it. I love to see stuff like that.
For that guy to come out to a show. If you're playing a show and that guy's there, that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you want to see that guy.
They don't just believe anything, you know?
Well, like I said before, your performance at the New Jersey Metal Fest was stellar. And what was so much fun is when you wrapped up your set by doing Metallica's "For Whom the Bell Tolls" twice. That was amazing.
We should have done that. Somebody, no, you don't play a song twice. You play. I don't know the ethics behind these things.
You know what? It didn't matter.
There's a bunch of people that wanted to hear it again.
The crowd was eating it up. I know. I went with my friend Tammy, and she was right up there headbanging. I don't know if you noticed the crazy blonde up front headbanging away. That was my friend Tammy, and she was loving it.
Yeah. There's a few people that were super into it. And that's when I jumped off the stage and went in the crowd. Most of the time, if you're playing a show that's kind of dead, you step into the crowd, or in the front area to make it look like you're pushing everybody back,
Right, you get them, yeah. No, you didn't have to do that at the Metal Fest.
When you're doing developing, everybody's got a cool name, everybody's got cool graphics, and then you listen to it and it's like, you don't sound like your picture, or,
Well, how did you guys come up with the name Psychoprism?
Well, what's pretty funny is you remember back in the days where you would make a decision on buying an album based upon the album cover.
Right. Yep.
Like Record Town.
That's how I bought Diamond Head, my very first Diamond Head album.
Yeah. That's how I got Black Sabbath Born Again.
Okay.
That was my first cassette. I was with my mother and her mother, and I just bought it, and for some reason I like the color blue. I like the blue on it, so I got it, and I'm listening to my brother's Walkman. I don't know, maybe not even 10 years old or something, and it scared me. I was listening to it, and I'm like, I almost wanted to return it, but there was something so compelling about it. It's funny because everybody says Black Sabbath, Ozzy, or Dio. And I'm like, Ian Gillan.
And you know what? And I'm all three of them, lend their own talent and their own take on what they bring forth to the band. Tony Martin
did it correctly, Nobody did it wrong. I just would have liked to have heard. It's just because I heard my first experience of Sabbath was Ian Gillan, and then later on, years later, I was hanging out with one of my brother's friends that was hanging out with one of his brother's friends. And I was probably like 12 years old, and we got into a car. We're not supposed to do that. My mother, she would have killed me. And then we just went driving, and it was getting dark, and something smelled real weird in the car, and then it was an old 500cc Cadillac.
Oh wow!
And then I see him. I think it was an 8-track or something he put in, and I hear what became the Wizard.
Ah, okay.
That was the first Ozzy version of Black Sabbath I heard.
That's...
And, with whatever was going on in the car, it kind of made it a little more animated. And I was like, wow, I can't believe I was so scared. I'm like, I got to get in so much trouble. We were like driving down Route 80. I didn't even know where. My mother would have buried me had she known what I was doing. But I mean, what an experience that was.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Wow, and The Wizard is such a great song to be, introduced to Ozzy with Sabbath, Absolutely.
Yeah. And then I think, what is that, Black Sabbath, it was, what is this that stands before me? A figure in black that looks at me.
Yep.
And that song was, by the time that song came around, I was like, I almost wanted to cry from, I'm scared of the song, I don't know these people in the car, why do I feel so weird? And then I remember them dropping this off, and we kind of hit it off with these guys. I'm like, that's something I will never do again, but it was, first of all, I can't do that ever again, because I'm getting so much, as a 12-year-old kid, I can't be, back then you shouldn't be doing these days, it seems like, the 12-year-olds are driving the car,
Oh, I know, right? No, when we were 12, no, definitely not.
Yeah, street lights are on, you better be home.
That's
and
it.
If you're home at night, Godzilla would be on,
Yep, or get home for that after-school special or something,
Yeah, absolutely. But, where do band names come from? I could look at if you look at the name Psychoprism, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you pull out the CHRISM, if you pull the chrism, which is a holy anointing oil, out of Psychoprism, you've got psyop.
Okay.
Okay? So it's kind of like a holy mind expletive. You know?
Very cool.
You know, so it's a holy psyop, you know? Because the meaning behind the songs, you know, I want those people to hear it and to like it. Just to say, you know what? You gave me this, I turned it into gold.
Right.
You know? Rumpelstiltskin's got nothing on me, Vicki.
This is true, Jess. Well, what I'd like to do now is take another break and play another Psychoprism song off of the Bloodlines EP. I think we're going to play Stained Glass. And what's the meaning behind this song?
Wow. It's taken on a new meaning now. I mean, it's the same kind of thing. I mean, 2015's been a rough year for us, for many reasons. But I mean, what takes the cake is, you know, we had our guitarist, the best friend of our guitarist, my favorite guy to see at the show. His name was Frank Olmans. He was very supportive. Loved the guy. He was a great guy, and he suddenly died.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I mean, Lord, I mean, Bill was devastated. I was in my own right. I didn't know him as well as anyone else, but I was devastated. I cried. You know, I was like, no, I'm like, not him. You know, and it's like, it was unbelievable. So, you know, that's his song. You know, but it's basically, if anything, you know, it's basically about, you know, if you know, you read the lyrics, you know, but it's really about when you know, situations in life just breaks down, and there's just, you know, there's just pieces of your past and your present and hopes of your future just laying around like shattered glass. Well, if you can pick them up and put them back together again, you can make stained glass. And that's a pretty picture.
That's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. And, you know, with beams of light flowing through them, we are the beacon tonight, live from the ashes of destruction. You know? It's good lyrics. You know, there's a few things that, you know, I got my digs at certain people and certain things, but, you know, what it really, you know, everything's a catalyst for something else. You know, and it's just because, you know, this gets your attention to go that way doesn't mean that, you know, the vested interest was that attraction or that innate attention-getting device. That was just something that sends you that way for a reason. So, you know, once you go that way, you know, you find out what you're there for. What's it all for? You know, was it all for nothing? No.
No.
That question of saying, was it all for nothing? If not for the song, maybe it would have been.
No, nothing,
you know?
is not for, you know, nothing. Everything happens for a reason. I'm a true believer in that. So, you know, so what I'm going to do, we're going to take a little break and we're going to play Stained Glass, and we'll be back on Metal Euphoria with Jess Rittgers from Psychoprism. All right, guys, here's Stained Glass. Welcome back. You are listening to SonicAsylumRadio.com. This is Metal Euphoria, and I'm your hostess, Metal Maiden Vicki. And today's show is all about Hollowfest 2015, taking place October 23rd and 24th at J.B. McGinnis Pub in Newcastle, Delaware. And I'm really excited because I'm going to be co-emceeing this event both nights. So this is just really an honor for me to be there hanging out with all the amazing bands that are going to be on the bill at Hollowfest, as well as representing Sonic Asylum Radio. And, you know, we've been hanging out today with Jess Rittgers, the vocalist from Psychoprism, band out of New Jersey. And Jess, I wanted to ask you, do you have any pre-show rituals that you go through before you get out on stage?
Oh, wow. Let's see. First of all, where's my wife? Is she protected?
Yes. Hi, Lori.
I think she's upstairs, but I need to know. I know where she is. She's good. She's with the other psycho wives, or she's the psychets, the psycho expletives, as they call themselves. You'll see once you see the new shirts, you'll understand. All right. I just kind of want to make sure that certain things are out of my mind before I snap in the war mode. Let's see, rituals. Make sure Bill's gear is where it is. It's nothing stolen. Make sure everybody's there. Adam's stuff is secured. His keyboard doesn't have a case. It is the most impervious keyboard you've ever seen in your life. You'd swear like M1 Abrams or something, or Skunk Works, or some military contractor built the keyboard, but it looks like it's blown up. It is so awesome. When I first saw it, I was saying, this keyboard's awesome. It looks like it's been through everything. Like, if you could talk to any of the instruments in Psychoprism, you want to interview the keyboard.
That's
Definitely,
great.
Because one look at that keyboard, and you're like, man, it's got stories, Just make sure everyone there, everything's secure. I want to know, what security's on staff, stuff like that. Talk to them, get them whatever they need. And then, I only need a couple seconds for Mr. Hyde to come out,
and that's spoken like somebody, a true New Jerseyite, New what do you call you? You're always aware of your surroundings. What's going on.
You have to.
You have to.
Distractors.
Yes.
And you just want to know who's just take care of everything first. You don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
Rituals, a couple of summoning a few entities, perhaps.
That's always a good
like
thing.
Huh?
That's always a good thing.
I think it works. It works. You feel that change happen, you're ready to go. As far as rituals, I don't need certain color M&Ms in the dressing room or anything like that.
Yes.
Just make sure everybody's good. Take care. Make sure everybody's taken care of. And then focus on yourself.
There you go. No serious riders going on with you guys, right?
Serious what?
Riders. No riders for the venues to learn. What you guys want to have backstage, or
is that what they're calling? I don't understand some of the slang, or some of the terms, which is pretty funny. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't think we need this and that and everything else.
You just want to get out and rock,
An energy drink, you make sure you time the energy drink so it starts peaking as you're getting ready. Little stuff like that. Nothing substantial. I don't need to pray to certain Norse gods,
right?
Anything like that.
Now, who are some of your? I want to talk a little bit about not only your personal influences musically, but the band in general, because I know you guys are more like a power metal band. Just wanted to go a little deep into that.
Well, I would say just in general, some of my biggest influences, perhaps of just personality-wise, is the 1980s pro wrestlers.
Okay.
I kind of, I was raised on those guys. Their dynamics, You know, The Ultimate Warrior is one of my favorites. I'm like, the dude just goes on a tangent. I'm like, that's great, you know. I have an Ultimate Warrior nightlight. It's not like I'm scared of the dark or anything, but it was a collector's item from back then, you know.
Very cool.
Pro wrestlers, The Ultimate Warrior being one of the forefront of my personal or character, you know, influences. You know, as far as you know, music influences, a whole ton of stuff. You know, like there's a band, Dead Can Dance. They're kind of like tribal. Juno Reactor from Beyond the Infinite. That's, you know, I used to play in a lot of drum circles.
Oh, okay.
I love drum circles. Yeah, especially good ones. You know, years back I lived in Wayne, New Jersey, and I lived in the attic of this old house. It kind of looked like if the wind blew hard enough, it would fall down. You know, but it was really cool. The whole living room, there's no furniture in it, because every Wednesday night these dudes came in that looked like they were off tarot cards, and they would all start playing these bizarre instruments. And let me tell you, it was very hypnotic. The smell of sage and whatever else they were burning was, very suspenseful. Next thing you knew, it was 5 hours later. And then, you know, before all of this, you know, I used to play, you know, I was a very abstract keyboard player. So I would play this just real weird kind of like Space Nebula music to their drums. And it was really, really awesome.
Oh, cool.
That was really neat. Some of my timing sort of comes from, you know, polyrhythmic sort of applications, you know, like how would you come, you know, or whatever. I don't question too much about that as far as, you know, influence. I said vocally, you know, I'll go to any Dream Theater show, you know, that when they're around, they'll pull me out immediately, you know. You know, I like anything the PNC's got a bunch of bands, like I'll go down to them. Symphony X is around. Definitely go to that show.
I love going to PNC.
Yeah, the new stuff is wild, and what a blend. I mean, they blend everybody so well. Like it's really, you know, wild stuff. What's funny is when I was a kid, I used to go to it was called St. Joe's in Montvale, and there was this kid on the bus. You know, he was a quiet kid. He would just sit there, seem like he's always thinking. You know, a nice guy. You know, I kind of say hi to him, whatever. You know, just he's always thinking. Very preoccupied. And then I ends up, you know, years later, I see this guy. I'm like, hey, the drummer of Symphony X was on my bus going to, you know,
no shit. Oh.
In Montvale. I'm like, oh, that's so funny. And what's funny about the singer of Symphony X, I knew him from a gym in Fairlawn. I was talking to him. I heard some killer stuff coming out of his Walkman. Yeah, I mean his iPod or whatever, you know, it was. And you know, I'm like, hey, what band is that? And he goes, oh, that's my band. I'm like, what is it, like Megadeth or something? You know, it sounded like really cool. And he's like, no, Symphony X. I'm like, you're in Symphony X? He goes, yeah, I'm the singer. I'm looking at him like, wait, he kind of doesn't look like that guy. But it's funny because we would talk before I knew he was a singer. So, and then that's when I said, well, what do you guys got? It's, you know, Dehumanizer, you know. So, you know, my stepdaughter's first show was a Symphony X gig.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they really stepped it up a ton. Now, I've seen them anytime.
Oh, yeah, Underworld is an amazing, incredible album.
Yeah, it's just wild. It's like, you know what? You know, get comfortable. Knock off your schedule, take your phone, you know, turn your phone off, and just plan to be there a little while, listen what's going on, you know?
Right.
That's great stuff. I mean, just my influences, I'd say James LaBrie from Dream Theater. I like his multiple sort of approaches and stuff he sort of does. He has a side project, James LaBrie, Static Impulse, you know, was one of his albums. He's got like a side, I really like a side project too. You know, just whoever's kind of, you know, got it happening. You know, I love Suicidal Tendencies, of course. You know, Queensryche, I like them. You know, certain albums, certain songs. Sometimes, like, I really like. If you think about it, from you know, Mission Impossible. What about GoldenEye? It was the song GoldenEye. Tina Turner sang it.
Oh, okay.
I would love to do a metal version of GoldenEye.
That would rule. Yeah, you guys definitely should work on that. That would be very, very cool.
What's so funny about For Whom the Bell Tolls, and we were talking about covers for a long time. We actually started working on one. It was Me Against the World. One of our drummer Kevin's song. We played it a few times. I liked it. It was cool, nice vibe, good feel. It just never came out. And then our guitarist, our keyboard player from who used to play guitar also. He was actually a lead guitar player in a Journey cover band, and he played keys and backup vocals. He's multi-talented. He's got degrees, all kinds of stuff. Wait till all that comes out. Wait to hear all this stuff the next time. But he started playing Separate Ways, a Journey song, and then Bill came in with a 7-string. Like, wow, that's real heavy.
Wow.
I could, sing any of that stuff, put our own twist on it. But because at the Metal Fest, it was Jeremy's show, and he's got the Metallic Cave, we picked the Metallica song for the Bell Tolls.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
That's why we ended up there. Of course, influenced this. Did I ever try to sing like anybody? I remember, when Images and Words came out, their album, I was like, wow. I'm like, listen to the way the guy sings through stuff. Like, that's really neat, And then, just down the line, eventually, record it, Lori, please.
Very cool. Now, besides music, do you have any, when you were a kid, what kind of games did you play? Whether it was outdoor, indoor, what did Jess as a kid like to do? Fishing, cool.
Fishing and BMX riding.
Ah, okay.
And collect some bottle caps.
Oh, nice. When I was a kid, we used to have a thing around here called the Bottle Cap Carnival. And all you needed to do to get on the rides or win stuff was, you paid with bottle caps. And it was so much fun. And kids would, show up with garbage bags full of bottle caps,
It's funny. I remember I lived next to a park, so I used to go fishing there, or I'd go riding the trails on my bike. It's funny. I had a Huffy with a mongoose sticker on it. My mom got it for me at a garage sale.
A Huffy, yeah. I had a Huffy. I had a red Huffy.
I remember all the kids, pointing at me and stuff, and I'm thinking wow, they're really liking the way I jump these curbs and stuff, right? Meanwhile, they're all saying, that guy's got a mongoose sticker on his Huffy.
That's funny.
I tell you this, if I did not have, what trumped that was I had really cool rims. I had these spiderweb mags that were aluminum. And nobody ever saw them before. Nobody knew where they came from. So they'd walk up and what is that, a mongoose sticker on your Huffy? Of course, I didn't know. I just thought it was a mongoose. Because the kid at the garage sale said, yeah, it's a mongoose, man. $15, good deal. I'm like, Mom.
That's hysterical.
It's a mongoose. And she's like, offer him 10. I'm like, 10? He's like, all right, $10. So, of course, they come up and they want to make fun of me for putting the mongoose sticker on a Huffy, but then they look at my rims. So, what kind of rims are those? You don't know what kind of rims these are? These are one of a kind. And I'm just here I am with a mongoose sticker, a totally fake, sticker on a fake concept, That's like putting, a Ferrari emblem on a Toyota.
Right. Exactly.
This does not drive like a Ferrari. It doesn't look like one. What cool rims, So I used to do that stuff. I used to go down the shore. Andy's dock was Long Beach Island. I still go there. I'd love to spend all day there.
Nice. I like the Jersey Shore a lot. We used to go to Barnegat Light.
My grandpa had a house down there.
Are you?
17 East 23rd Street. Yeah, he got it after the storm of '62.
Wow.
That oceanfront house. Yeah, that's how we ended up down there.
That's a great area. Yeah, that's a great area. Yeah. I haven't been down this shore in a long time, though. I'll have to make an attempt to go down there next summer.
It's just more stuff within, the same amount of space.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like what you made me think of George Carlin. You got to get more stuff.
What's funny, what's funny is I had met George Carlin once. I had dinner with him, but I had no idea it was George Carlin.
Did you really? How did that come about?
It's ridiculous. I always, this story only holds merit now, because I never wanted to bring it up, and since he died, people would bring him up. I'm like, well, actually, I met him once, had dinner with him. I was bouncing a club. I was 19, 20, 21, something like that. And, after we're done, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. So it's like 4 in the morning, I'm at a place called the River Edge Diner in River Edge, New Jersey, where I grew up. And, I come in, he's like, here's like 4 or 5 people we threw out. I'm like, all right, let's stay away from these people. A bunch of other drunks, some girls hanging out, whatever. So I'm like, I'm sick of crowds, So let me go to the back. So I go to the back. And I'm sitting there by the, the to-go station where the stools are,
Right.
And, I'm sitting there, so there's some guy, kind of looked sort of like a bum, sort of this guy. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll hang out with this guy, So I sat, a stool away from him, sat down, good evening. He looks at me, kind of beady eyes. He's like, how you doing? He quick looks back at his food. So I'm like, all right, maybe the guy is a little weird or something, So I'm like, it's late, this time at a diner, who's on what, whatever.
Right.
So we started talking and stuff, whatever. And Lisa was our waitress and stuff. And we started talking, and so he's like, all right, come here often. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, well, I work at a nightclub over there, and I'm like, I'm actually over here because I threw out those 3 guys over there. And he starts laughing, and he goes, "What guys? Like those 3 guys? I'm like those 3 guys over there." So, back in the day, we just, I was convinced I was the ultimate warrior, and I'm working this club, and it's a battle royal, and people are just flying out the door, So, we start talking, I make him laugh, and then, he makes me laugh and stuff, and he goes, you're a pretty funny guy. I'm like, oh, thanks, you're pretty funny yourself. He goes, yeah, you're funny, but you're not the funniest. I'm like, well, I never claimed to even be funny, sir, much less the funniest. He goes, you know who the funniest is? I'm like, I have absolutely no idea who the funniest is, sir. He goes, you ever hear George Carlin? I'm like, who? He goes, George Carlin. He's the funniest. I'm like, I don't know who that is, sir. He goes, you don't know George Carlin? And you kind of looked around, like, I'm like, no, who is he? He goes, he's a comedian. I'm like, I really don't know comedians. I kind of like, I know pro wrestlers and stuff, but 80s pro wrestling trivia put me up with some of the best, I'm like, I will tell you who the masked superstar really was and who he reappeared as. Most people don't even know who he was. Okay, but anyway, so we start talking. He goes, oh, George is the funniest. He goes, I'm his biggest fan. I'm like, really? He goes, I know all his material. I know all his shows. And he starts telling me about George Carlin, how funny he is, and he starts going through all his material. And I'm like, man, this guy really has, whoever this guy George Carlin's guy is, he's got his material really down. And I'm sitting there laughing, like, yeah, I got my own comedy show here by George Carlin's #1 fan.
That's awesome.
You think he's in the city this week? I'm like, New York? He's like, yeah, he's in the city. So I'm like, I really never go into. You gotta go see him. If you can't make it to the city shows, you gotta go pick up this new VHS. This one I had VHS. He goes, you gotta go pick up this new tape he's got out. And he told me what kind of tape it is, everything. So after I was sitting there, talking for a while, he's really hyping up this guy, George Carlin. So he's like, people even say I look like him. Well, when I get the tape, I'll make my own judgment, sir. It was a pleasure meeting you. He goes, all right. I'm like, I didn't get your name. He goes, oh, George. I'm like, have the same name as him?
That's
yeah,
awesome.
Like no material. I'm at all the shows. I go to everything. I know. I'm his #1 fan. I'm like, well, that's great. He has someone so dedicated. What else am I going to say? It's 4 in the morning. Here's this guy. I'm hungry. What are we going to say? So he leaves, and this is when they had a store called The Wiz.
Oh, yeah, I remember The Wiz. Yeah.
I went into The Wiz, and I'm looking around. I'm like, hey, you guys got a comedian section? And they're like, yeah. So I went over there, and I'm looking, and I pull out. I see Carlin, so I pull it out, and I look at the cover. I'm like, wow, this really does look like that guy from the diner. How funny, No wonder people think it's him and all this other stuff. So I'm like, I look at it, was like, $30 or whatever. I'm like, well, I'm not paying $30 from somebody I don't know, you know. Like, whatever, you know, okay, I'll think about it. Maybe I'll find one at a garage sale or something, yeah. So, I go back to the diner the next week, and there's Lisa. She goes, hey, you know who that was you were sitting to last week? I'm like, no, I just met him. She goes, that was George Carlin. I'm like, no, we were talking about George Carlin. I goes, what are you talking about him? He says people think he's George Carlin, and he's George Carlin's #1 fan. They say he looks like him, and he knows all his material, and he goes to all the shows. So this way, she goes, what? I'm like, yeah, that's what he told me. And then I went to the store to get his video. He told me I got to go get this guy George Carlin's video. So I go to the store to get the video. I'm like, yeah, it really did look like him. I can understand why people think it's him. She laughed in my face. She's like, what are you talking about? No, he told me. He told you that? She's like, that was George Carlin. I'm like, why would a guy that's George Carlin send me to a store to go look at this cassette that everyone thinks is him?
He was totally messing with you.
Laughing in my face. She goes, he sent you to a store to get his video? I'm like, wait, what? No, he's to get George Carlin's video. She goes, that was George Carlin. I'm like, why would a guy who's George Carlin tell me to go get George Carlin's video at the store and tell me all about how he's his #1 fan and all this stuff? She goes, he was screwing with your head.
That is so funny.
And it started to sink in. I'm like, wait a minute. Who's George? George Carlin's a comedian. That's him. When he plays in the city, he comes in this diner when he's in the area.
What
so
a great story. That is so funny, Jess.
I was actually kind of mad. I'm like, well, why would he send me? And then she's laughing. She's like, I don't know. Did you buy it? I'm like, no, it was too much money. But I can say, honestly, I met George Carlin, had dinner with him, and he sent me to a video store to find his own VHS cassette of his show that apparently he's the #1 fan of this guy.
That is so funny.
When I looked at it, this is back in the time when he had the little ponytail in the back.
Right.
Like, wow, this guy, that's really funny. Now it's funny.
That is very funny.
Until other people thought it was funny.
Yeah, no doubt. What a great story. Thanks for sharing that with everybody. That was great. You know?
If anybody wants to know what George Carlin really acts like when he's not on stage, that's what he'll do to you if you don't know who he is.
Right? He will just mess with you relentlessly. You know, he was definitely such a creative genius. You know, he'll be missed until the end of time, that's for sure. You know?
And you know what? That's what turned me on to him. And I periodically, I will watch his videos. And I'm like, man, this guy don't even stutter.
No, he was just bam, you know. He was so intelligent. Just unbelievable. Absolutely. Unbelievable, that man. All right, well, I wanted to wrap up the interview. I know I'm going to get going here. And you have a show coming up on, when is the date at the Chance in Poughkeepsie, New York?
It is October 11th.
October 11th, and you're going to be playing with Fates Warning and Talon and Striven.
Sure.
Excellent, excellent. So if you guys are in the Poughkeepsie, New York area, definitely head out to the Chance and go see Psychoprism. You will not be disappointed. And definitely check them out at the Hollowfest coming up at the end of the month on October 23rd and 24th at J.B. McGinnis Pub in Newcastle, Delaware. It's going to be an amazing weekend of, you know, all kinds of things. A haunted club experience and many, many kick-ass bands. It's just going to really be a phenomenal event. You know, I'm so glad that, you know, we're having something like this on the East Coast for everybody to get together and do this. It's phenomenal.
Without a doubt.
And how can people find you on social media? I know we have your Facebook page, which I'm going to put a link up in the chat room.
Facebook, you know, who's not constantly on Facebook, you know?
Exactly.
You know, some people, like, this is what I'm eating. This is my dessert. This is me walking my dog, which is, you know, I do stuff like that. You know, people are constantly on it. You know, so, you know, that's always good. I know we have, you know, psychoprism.com is it's updated site, and it tells you what's going on. You can go over to Nuclear Rock has Jerry's show called The Metallic Cave. He's got like updates on us there. But you really can't go wrong with Facebook. Psychoprism on Facebook always works well. And anybody else that we're friends with comes along, other radio stations, anybody that's we're all about the overall expression. So when you can't contain the explosion, it goes in all directions. And tonight it's going on Sonic Radio.
Exactly, and people can purchase the Bloodlines EP on psychoprism.com. Where else can they purchase the EP?
I know we have it there. I know Jerry's got his Metallic Cave. You can get it there, but we love to sell them at shows too. You can go to iTunes, you can go to Google Play, you can go to any of the social media sites. You can download them there.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you, Jess, for being on the show today. It was a blast, and I really look forward to seeing you guys at the end of the month.
Yeah, that would be great. Nice to see you again. It'd be wonderful to meet up with another Gambino.
Yes. Well, who's a Gambino? I don't know. Who's this Gambino you speak of?
Salvatore Gambino. It's one of my old friends.
Hey, we'll be down in Delaware, Forgot about it. It'll be fun.
And he talks like that.
Huh?
He's a chef.
Well, is there anything that you want to say to all the listeners and supporters out there tuning into Sonic Asylum Radio today?
Thanks for your time. Anything you have to offer, I've got nothing to hide. Anything you're interested in, I will willingly express. It's all about, who's left on the metal scene, what you can do with it, and hopefully, there's a lot of kids out there that, everybody should have their own expression, their own outlet, and hopefully if they end up with a guitar, they won't end up with a gun, So it's important to, express yourself and to, release pent-up anger and, emotions and things like that. And this is a great, concept for me to work through. The Psychoprism is very therapeutic for me.
Absolutely, and
anything we can do for anybody along the way, catch us, email us, find us, talk to us. Anything we can do for anybody, because it's all about the vibe. If we can help spread the vibe, that's what keeps us all alive.
Absolutely, Jess. I completely agree with you. All right, well, thank you once again, Jess. And I'm going to head out of the interview. I'm going to play another Psychoprism song. This one is called The Wrecker.
Sure, and you want to know what this is about?
Yes, we do.
Long story made short, I was bouncing a dingy nightclub, and this guy did not pay the cover charge. And then ultimately, after I spoke with him, that's where the lyrics came from. This guy don't have to pay any cover charges. And he can wear his hat in the club anytime he wants.
There you go. Okay.
I would just also like to say, anybody, there's a lot of, rescue dogs and cats and animals that are out there, and anyone that's willing to, look into, sharing their lives with a rescue animal, taking them off the death row, there's unconditional love you probably won't get from most people in your life that you'll get from an animal. So anybody there with a little extra room in the heart and in their home, maybe you can go out and find one of them. Bonnie's Animal Rescue Kingdom is one of them, and A Chance at Life Cat Rescue is another.
Absolutely. Rescue pets are the best. And it's so important, there's so many out there that just want a loving home,
Yeah,
absolutely.
They're awesome. They're great. They know what you did for them. A lot of people in your lives, they don't know what you did for them.
No, but they do. A pet's love is unconditional, and it's loyal, and, they're not just, I shouldn't even say a pet. They are part of the family. They're our furry kids.
Yeah, they're my children. Exactly. Thanks everybody for listening. Thank you, Vicki, all the Gambinos, and everybody else that's a part of this massive thing. Let us drive the motor. Everybody get in for the ride.
Excellent. All right, thank you, Jess. And we're going to head out of the interview with Psychoprism's The Wrecker off of their Bloodlines EP. Crank it up, guys.